They say history is written by the victors. But what if I told you that one of history's greatest winners wasn't a king, an empire, or a general, but a city? A city built on water that became one of the richest and most powerful places in the world. And the craziest part? It wasn't supposed to exist at all. Venice is one of the most unique cities on the planet. Tourists today flock to its canals, its gondolas, and its stunning architecture. But few realize that Venice wasn't just a beautiful place, it was a powerhouse. It was a city that thrived for over 1,000 years, outplaying kings, emperors, and popes to dominate trade, finance, and even warfare. But how did this city, built on a bunch of tiny islands in a swamp, rise to control the Mediterranean? And what caused its downfall? Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of Venice, a city that shouldn't have existed, but changed the world anyway. A city that shouldn't exist. Imagine you're living in the Roman Empire, somewhere around the 5th century. Life is stable, trade is booming, and Rome seems unstoppable. And then, everything collapses. Barbarians storm through Italy, burning cities, destroying villages, and forcing people to flee for their lives. Now, where would you go? Most people tried to hide in forests or mountains, but a desperate group of Romans made a more radical choice. They ran into the sea. At the northern tip of the Adriatic, there was a massive lagoon, shallow, full of sandbanks, and mostly useless for farming. But for the refugees, it was perfect. They built wooden homes on stilts, connected by wooden walkways, and started their new life in the marshes. It was a terrible place to live, salty water, no farmland, and constant flooding. But it had one big advantage. Nobody wanted to invade it. The people who settled here weren't warriors. They were traders, fishermen, and craftsmen. And slowly they realized they had something valuable: location. They were in the perfect spot between Western Europe and the Byzantine Empire. And as the world started to rebuild after Rome's fall, Venice was in the perfect position to become a trade hub. The rise of a trade empire. Venice's first big break came in the 9th century when they got their hands on the most important relic in the Christian world, the body of St. Mark. According to legend, Venetian merchants smuggled the saint's remains out of Egypt by hiding them under pork, knowing that Muslim officials wouldn't touch the shipment. They brought St. Mark to Venice, built a magnificent church in his honor, and declared him their patron saint. This wasn't just religious, it was political. It gave Venice legitimacy. They weren't just a random swamp town anymore. They were a holy city. Meanwhile, Venice was growing richer. Unlike most medieval cities, which were controlled by kings or feudal lords, Venice was run like a business. It was ruled by a group of wealthy merchants, led by an elected leader called the Doge. Their goal? Make money. They built a powerful navy, not for war, but to protect their trading ships. They signed deals with the Byzantine Empire, the Islamic world, and even the Pope. And soon, they controlled the trade routes between Europe and the East. Spices, silk, and gold flowed through Venice. And with it, power. The height of Venetian power. By the 13th century, Venice was at its peak. It had one of the most advanced shipbuilding industries in the world, capable of building an entire warship in a single day. Its merchants dominated the Mediterranean, and its navy was stronger than most kingdoms. But its biggest moment came during the Fourth Crusade. In 1202, crusaders from Western Europe arrived in Venice, wanting transport to the Holy Land. But there was a problem. They couldn't afford the trip. The Venetians made them an offer: attack the city of Zara, a rival trade hub, and Venice would take them to Jerusalem. The crusaders agreed, but after sacking Zara, they got an even bigger request: attack Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. The result? The Crusaders stormed the city, looted its treasures, and set up a puppet government. And Venice? They took the best prize of all: control of Byzantine trade. For the next century, Venice was the richest city in the world, the beginning of the end, but no empire lasts forever. By the 15th century, trouble was brewing. The biggest problem? The Ottomans. As the Ottoman Empire expanded, Venice's trade routes became less secure. In 1453, when the Ottomans conquered Constantinople, Venice lost its biggest trading partner overnight. Then, in 1498, something even worse happened. A Portuguese sailor named Vasco da Gama sailed around Africa and reached India. For centuries, Venice had been the middleman between Europe and Asia. Now, European traders could go directly to the source. Venice's monopoly was over. Over the next few centuries, Venice slowly declined. It was still a wealthy city, but it was no longer a superpower. By the 18th century, it had become more of a tourist attraction than a global force. And in 1797, Napoleon Bonaparte marched in and ended the Venetian Republic for good. Venice's rise and fall is one of the most incredible stories in history. A city that should have never existed became one of the most powerful places on Earth. It built an empire, not through conquest, but through trade, diplomacy, and sheer determination. And while its golden age is long gone, its legacy still shapes the world today. Even in its decline, Venice continued to captivate the world. It became a city of art, music, and intrigue, home to legends like Casanova, who navigated its canals with the same cunning and charm that Venice once used to outmaneuver empires. If you love hidden stories from European history, subscribe to the channel and let's uncover more untold tales together.